Okay, I started the recording and I'm sharing my screen. So good morning all. Yeah,
How are you doing?
good. So welcome to another week. Have a nice week ahead. How was the weekend?
It's pretty good, but just checking the news, all the time how it's going, the pandemic, right?
Right,
It's good. Yeah.
good. So you go how is it? Is it opened up? You can go outside or is it
Yeah,
like a curfew?
no, it's not lockdown. From the starting, states just like keep on going.
Okay,
Because all the people they are working from home and there is no point of contact, right? Wherever we go, just like card swipe and just we will no need to go into the store, and if you want just you can order and we just you will get from like uh, outside delivery. We can go out at the window, we can take and we can swipe the card and can get it. It's like
okay.
yeah,
Nice. Here just lockdown started.
yeah, I saw the news. It's like
Yes. Past 3 days it's been locked down. And from today onwards it's just half day. So by 2 o'clock everything will shut down. Okay, so let's go into the advanced Java. This Friday, I rushed through the advanced Java to just give a feel of it. Today, again, the same slides we'll go through, and any doubts you can clarify. Once again, I'll start from the basic. So, you can see my screen, right? I hope it's visible.
yeah, we can see.
Okay, good. So, uh, the advanced Java, the the end goal of the advanced Java is to build a website. So far, we have been writing standalone programs in core Java. So using the standalone programs, you can write logics and you can run it on your own machine. The logics which you write, I cannot see it, or I, as a user, I cannot use it. I cannot be benefited using any of the logics which you write in core Java as a standalone application. Let us take on an example. We have a program to add, multiply, subtract, or divide. A simple calculator program. Let's say you have written in core Java. What we will be doing, we will create a main method, and inside the main method, using scanner or file input stream, using file input stream or buffered reader or scanner, we'll read the numbers and we'll get the operation, like whether the user wants to add, multiply, divide, or subtract. And then we will pass on to another class or a method, and we'll do the operation accordingly, and we will be returning back and displaying the output in either system.out.println or in log. This is a simple program which will do the calculator work. But what is the use of this program? This can be run only in the machine where the user has installed Java, uh, and only he can use it. He can run it through Eclipse or command prompt, and he can give it. So you have developed a calculator, only you can use it. You cannot have others benefit by using it. To do that, what
Rajesh, that means I didn't get you. Whatever thing we are doing, the end users can't see it. That means I didn't get the clear thing here.
whatever program you have written in, let's the example of calculator you understood, right? So
Uh,
you have written a calculator program
okay.
which will get two inputs from the user and also what he has to do, add, multiply, let's say ADD, MUL, all those things. How can who can be benefited using that program? Only uh, okay, let's say I have to use that program. How can I use a program? You have to send me the source code, correct? You have to send me the code. I have to install Java in my machine. I have to run it. Only then I can use that calculator.
Yes.
So if someone else in the crowd, they want to use the calculator, you have to send that program again. they have to install the Java, which is a very lengthy process. Everyone they have to install Java in their machine. You have to send that code, and they have to run, and you have to tell them how to run. For a non-technical person, it is not possible to use the program. So the limitation of core Java or the main application is it can be run only by a technical person. It can be run only after you have installed the predefined softwares like Java. Eclipse need not be there. You can use command prompt to run itself, but Java is a basic need. So that is the limitation of core Java. That is a limitation of the main program. Every user have to install and run it. To as a non-technical user who is a layman who doesn't even know anything about computer, anything about Java, if he has to use, there's no way. That scenario, the advanced Java comes into rescue, wherein we tell, I will not give you the program. Whoever wants to do the calculation will not send you the program. I will have it in my machine. I will create or convert as a website, and I will give you a link. You can use it through browser. It is same way like any website you take. Let's say Gmail. You want to send out an email to your boss. You call gmail.com in the browser, right? And you there they are showing you one neat page to create to write your content, and to address, CC address, font, everything, and they just give you a send button. How do they send an email? You don't know. They use a core Java. They might use a core Java program as a main program in their machine to send an email, but they don't give you any program. All they give you is a user interface in browser, which you are aware of. Any person who is using computer, the minimum thing which is needed is to use a Chrome or Safari or Firefox, so whatever, or Edge. So the reason advanced Java comes into picture, or where we need, is the to overcome the limitation of the core Java. So core Java, only the person can run it, or every user must have the JVM or Java installed to run it. But advanced Java, no, none of the persons who are going to use the application have any of the predefined software installed. All they need is a simple web browser. Any browser they use, we just give them a link. They come through the link, they do all the operations, and they get the result. So that is where the advanced Java is coming. That is what we are going to do now. In simple
Uh,
terms, we are going to create a website.
that means Rajesh, before core Java, where we used
Means where we use
now
means
that means we're telling before advanced Java, where the core Java is used, not for the end user purpose.
core Java will not be used for end user purpose.
Okay.
It
Before
can be used, but there is a technical challenge. Not technically, it needs time. Core Java, just a main program, correct? That will
yeah.
never be 99.99%. It will not be used directly for end user, because core Java cannot be exposed. Suppose I am running one main program in my Eclipse. You cannot give input here. Only I can run, and I can give an input to this program. For you to come into this program and give an input, I have to enable a port. I have to listen to the port. I have to start listening the port and get the inputs. You have to hit that port. It's a very complex thing, which is already done in a browser. So why should we repeat it when something is already there? We need not recreate it. So to answer your question, core Java will not be used for end user. It can be used for one single user, like admin can use it. We can create one core Java application without advanced Java and run in one single machine. So one person can use it, but you cannot open it to the world, because it is not having any UI. Core Java can listen only in terminal.
That
Which is
means Rajesh, where core Java is used before.
core Java is used behind.
Okay.
Earlier, before the advanced Java came, we had something called as applet.
Okay.
So applet was a user interface for the Java.
Okay.
Java,
Now I
they
got you.
themselves built an UI which is applet, which is no longer used, which is not used. So I mean, when once the applet went away, HTML came into picture. Did it
I'm
clear?
good, Rajesh. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, okay. So the reason we are going into core Java is to overcome the limitations of the advanced Java. What we'll be doing, we'll create a website. What we will do in that website, we will convert the mathematical calculator program which we developed in the core Java earlier weeks. We will convert you to advanced Java. By convert, what I means is just the input section we will be capturing from browser. The core logic of what we did using switch case, all those things we did, if you remember, all those will be retained as it is. There will not be any change in it. So a core, we are giving a small flavor to core Java. We are empowering the core Java by giving it a user interface to capture the input and to produce the output in a neat way. That is what we are going to do. So that is the basic of the web application, which will have a client and a server. The client is the browser. The server is the machine where the Java is going to run. Moving to the next slide. So server and client. When a web browser is going to hit a URL, it is going to send a request. The server is going to read the request and it is going to see whether the content which is requested by the user is available. If it is available, it is going to return back as a response. So the request and response are two terms you have to understand, which is irrespective of languages, Java, .NET, PHP, or Node, whatever it is. If you come into web, it is request and response. These two terms are irrespective of the languages. It is a web term. Now, how the process works, user clicks a link in the browser formats the request and it sends to the server, which browser here means Chrome, Edge, Safari, whatever it is, it converts the request and it sends to the server. Server finds the requested page. If it is going to find what you are asking, it is going to format that output and send it back to the browser. Let's take this picture and correlate with what we are going to do. As an end user, the first step, user is going to click a link in the browser. Instead of clicking a link, he will input number 1, number 2, and he will click on a symbol plus. This request of number 1, number 2, and plus is clicked, which means 3 parameters. These 3 parameters are formatted as a request and it is sent to the server. Server receives the 3 values. What are the values? Number 1, number 2, and whether the user clicked on plus, minus, divide, or subtract. No, plus, minus, divide, and multiplication. Based on these 4, it is going to call a Java program, which we developed earlier. The Java program has got the 3 inputs now. Based on that, it is going to do the calculation and it is going to return back to the server. Now server, it has got the result. If the user has clicked 1 and 2 and he has clicked on plus, the result is going to be 3. The server is going to format that result. It is going to send back to the browser. The browser will display 3 in the browser window. How do we display 3? Whether in a blue color or a font of 20, italic, underlined, all those things are taken care by the HTML and CSS layer. Is this flow clear? Any questions in this?
I'm good on mine.
Okay, so anyone, if you have a question, you can stop me anytime. Always welcome. So this is what we are going to achieve. So client and server, they talk in HTTP and HTML. As I said earlier, the second picture and third picture, the computer to server, HTML is sent as HTTP request, and server to computer, HTML is sent as HTTP response. So here the client and the server, they talk in language HTTP. So HTTP is a protocol which works on TCP/IP, which is a networking protocol. The TCP/IP is responsible for transferring.
That means, Rajesh, the client mission and the server mission, in between it will talk in one of the language, that is HTTP or HTML, right? Okay.
Correct. No, HTML is the content. HTTP is the protocol. You take it like this. HTTP is the bus through which the parcel is going. The parcel is the HTML. So from the customer, which is the computer, I am giving number 1, which is 1, and the second number is 3, and the operation I have to do is multiplication. These 3 are bundled as a parcel, and it is placed inside the HTTP bus. The HTTP bus travels from the customer machine, which can be in New York, to the server, which can be in India. It travels there from New York to India in a bus. The bus is called HTTP. The bus operates in TCP/IP, which is one more bus, one more parcel bus. That is networking concept. Let's not go deep into that. For now, just understand that there is one bus. Inside the bus, we put the parcel. Inside the parcel, we have 3 values: the number 1, 2, and 3. This bus travels from a client machine who is in New York to a server which is in India. After it reaches India, how it reaches India, that's networking. You have to dig into Google, and there are beautiful videos in YouTube. That itself is a complete different lesson. So how it, to tell you in short how it is done, is the parcel will be split into 3 or 4 chunks, and it won't be sent in single bus, it will be sent in multiple buses. Once it reaches India, all the 4 chunks will be rejoined, and the server gets as a complete parcel. That is how it works. Now in the server, after it reaches India, the Indian server, it gets processed. Once again, after the result, it is again packaged. It is placed in another bus. This bus is called response bus. The parcel is called response, which is HTML. The bus is called HTTP bus. It is now again sent to the source. Whoever sent it, that source will be stored temporarily for identification. Only then we can send it back to the same person. If it was from New York, we have to send it back to New York. If it was from Germany, we have to send it back to Germany. So it would send back the same HTTP bus to the person who initiated this request in the client computer. Once the bus reaches, the parcel is taken, it is opened, and it is shown in the user interface. So this is how it works. Any question?
It's clear, Rajesh.
Hello. Yeah. No. Only if like you can respond, I'll know that I am audible or not. Otherwise, I'm just just a small request. Okay. Otherwise, every time I am moving my mouse to that control and seeing whether I'm online or not. So if I can get an interactive like session, it will help me move faster.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So this works on HTTP, and we have 2 methods to call, whether a get method or post method. What this means is, do you know that few of the parcels you cannot seal them? It has to be open. Are you aware of such things? There are rules in the government that not every parcel can be tightly closed. Few things has to be sent out. Open means you should not seal the package, but it can be kept in a container. But it should be visible
Yes,
for
Rajesh.
everyone.
When we are traveling in planes, if you have any luggage bag, the zip doesn't has to be locked. That means if you have any small lock, don't lock. If you lock, they will cut the lock and they will see.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that.
So if it is locked means it's called post. If it's not locked means it's called a get. So a post method is secure. Get method is not secure. But to retrieve content, you need get. So since it's not secure, we cannot tell that there's no use of it. There are definitely uses of get method. So that
Okay,
is,
post means lock,
it
get
is
means
locked.
okay.
Yeah, you cannot see what is inside the bus. Once what's inside the parcel, but a get,
Okay.
you can see what is inside the parcel. So get is, since you are able to see what is inside the parcel, get is more prolonged for the attack. Hackers can easily attack. So you should not send any secure information in get. You cannot send you cannot keep money in your bag, right? Anyone can open and take it up. Same analogy.
Okay.
So when you're going in flights, you since you said that you cannot lock it, then you cannot place money in the bag and then ask where is my money. Same way, if it is not locked, don't keep any important information. If you are okay that those information will be steal, you can keep it. So get is always uh, attackable. They can attack. The hackers can attack, but still we need get. You'll understand when we use it. So, but these two are definitely needed. Avoid using get for sensitive information. That's all. When there is 99% use post, like few one or two times you need get, it is faster than put. And but where you are okay with the information being shared, then not an issue. Now, okay, I showed one example the other day. Let's take one URL. The first section of the URL, any website you go, the first section is called the protocol. We said just now we saw that it is HTTP or HTTPS. Both are the bus or the protocol using which the information, the parcel is getting transferred. This is the destination. In this case, India or New York. In the example which we saw, this is called India. ENS, when as a person sitting in New York, if he opens it, he is sending an information through HTTPS protocol to the server which is there in India. How am I telling it is in India? This it is networking again. This domain name ENSTNR would have been purchased in India, and the server I would have kept the server in India. So that's the server address, and the next number is the port. The next is the resources, and the last is the parameter. This is how any URL will be there. Now we will create one simple website to start to understand this concept. We will install the Tomcat. I have shared the link the other day. You can go to Tomcat server and take the latest version from it and just install the Tomcat. There are exes. Okay. Tomcat server. Tomcat.apache.org. It's a project from Apache. See here, Tomcat is a free and open source implementation of Java Servlet and Java Servlet Pages. Implementation. It's core Java. You have to read that. This is implementing the servlets and JSP pages. All these things, which means someone has already developed a program using core Java, so that we can reuse it. So instead of
Yeah.
rewriting again, we can
That
reuse
day
there.
it all regarding this Tomcat.
Yes,
Just it has the ability to read the
correct,
server programs.
correct. So you can download version 10, which is the latest version. You will be seeing here core, full, embedded deployer, and source. Here binary disk. If you are using Windows, go for binary, which is exe. Here, not this one, this one. So Windows Service Installer. If you download these two, you have to manually set the path. This one is exe. This will take up automatically. Once you install, you can, okay, that's the first step. Then we have to create a web project in Eclipse. So how I will do is, I'll go to File, New, Dynamic Web Project. So far we created Java project. Instead of that, Dynamic Web Project, April 26 web. So use default location, no changes here. Next, no changes. Next, generate web.xml deployment description. Just check this box, leave out everything as it is, finish. So before it gets installed, I'll show you one theory. So any web application, Java web app, any Java web app should have this structure: project, capital web INF. Inside capital web INF, it should have small classes and small lib. This is small c. This cannot be capital C. And lib. And within the web INF, we will have web.xml. This is the predefined structure which is accepted universally. So which the Java guys in conference, they have met and they have decided this is how any web application should be. So this is fixed. If we go to Eclipse, it would have generated in the same structure. April 26, src main. You see here the web app, web INF. Inside that it has generated lib, and it has generated web.xml inside web.inf. So I said that web.xml will be inside web.inf, and lib has been generated. Classes alone we have to generate. So I'll right click here. I'll create a folder as classes. So this is, I'll print screen and I'll paste it here. So this is the web project structure which we have. We have the project. Inside the project, we have the web INF. When I say project, the SRC is different. You just focus on the web app. Only the web app structure we are seeing. Meta INF is something different. I'll come later. Web INF, classes, lib, web.xml. So these are the 4 things which is mandatory. Now I'll go ahead and create my first servlet. Okay, before that, what I said, did I tell? Okay, I created the Tomcat. I created the web project in Eclipse. Now we have to add the external jar in a folder and also build path in the Eclipse. What is the external jar means? Somebody has already created few sets of functionalities for us, so we are going to reuse them. You can go to how you can download the external jar is Maven repository. Few things are standard in Java. So if you know,
we can say like predefined code or
predefined classes and predefined methods,
okay.
which we need not, again we need not build it. It is already there.
Okay.
So this is one standard URL. Like we have like 3 to 4 URL, as I said. If you remember that, that's all in Java. There will not be anything new. Like one of the thing I said was documentation. The other is the Tomcat URL I said. This is the repository. If you go to this repository, any jar you'll get it. All the jars across the globe, if you want to use something, you can get it. One of the jar which we used in day 1, do you remember? first day of the class, I downloaded one jar.
Pom.xml.
No, inside the POM, I gave one jar. That's the first topic we studied.
Something like log something.
Correct. Log4j, which is used for logging. If I search, there are, see, these many logs are available. These many persons have implemented and these many jars are available. You can use whichever you want. Every jar is telling this many usages. So you can use whatever you want. I think I used this one. Every jar might have like different class names. Mostly it will be same. Just few features might be different. Now we want to use Jakarta.
Rajesh, their
Yes.
Apache log4j something that's the class name or the
This is the jar name. We call as Java archive. Jar is called Java archive, which is nothing but a zip folder.
okay.
I'll show you. I'll extract one zip and show you. I'll take. Let me download the Jakarta servlet. How do I know that I have to use this? Through the experience. Once you start writing, hardly 10 or 15 only will be there. You'll reuse the same jars again and again. Jakarta Servlet API 5.0. Jakarta Servlet API. Servlet API. Here it is. Jakarta dot servlet. Dot servlet API 5.0.
That means this is one of the
This the
classes and methods which we are going to use in Tomcat server, right?
correct.
Okay.
This is one of the package. This package, they have given these many versions. Out of these many, this came on 19 4.0. Here they would have added few more classes or functionalities. Here few more, like that. I'm using the latest which came in 2020 September.
Okay.
So if I download this, you can go to this jar. You can use Maven, Gradle. These are the different tools, automated tools. If you are not going to use anything, you can just go here and download the jar directly. You click on this jar, this will get downloaded. There is something as view all. You click on this Java doc. No, I don't want this. Let me open this itself. So what I will do is I'll copy this and I'll go to here. I'll create one. No, I already have one folder structure. I'll go here and I will extract. This is just a zip file. If I go extract here, instead of, if I give extract here, all files will be outer files. Instead of that, I create one. It will automatically create. See here, there is a folder servlet. These are the classes they have. They have written so many classes for us. I'll be using these classes. I'll be using this servlet class, servlet.class. So this is how the jar will be. Jar will have all the classes in it. If you are going to write some great logics, you can also bundle your output as a jar file and you can publish to Maven. Suppose you are writing some great logic which no one else has written so far. Like you can think of something unique. Like one of the things which comes to my mind is we have UPS and FedEx carriers. So let's say you are writing a logic where if I give you the UPS tracking number and you will be automatically hitting their server, you will get the rates and you will display like that. If you are writing something very unique logic, and you want to share with everyone, you can bundle it as a jar and you can sell it also. So that is how it works. But all these are free jars. They are not selling it. But there are few jars which they sell also. We have to, they are licensed, and actually this will not be in Maven. It will be available differently. So what I wanted to show was, once we download the jar, we will place the jar. This is important thing. We'll place the jar into lib. Lib means library. We'll paste it here. And the next step, what I have given, you have to place it in lib folder. It is done. And also in build path in Eclipse, you right click the project, go to properties, Java build path, libraries. What is this? Java intermediate area process. You will not get this error. Okay. Class path, add jar. I have the jar in the lib Jakarta. Apply and close. So I'm done with this. Now create a servlet by extending HTTP, not servlet, server. It is servlet. The HTTP servlet. So what is a servlet? I have given somewhere. Servlet is nothing but a server-side Java program. What I will do, I will right click the Java folder and I'll create, here it is, servlet. Servlet, the Java package is main servlet, and the servlet name is welcome servlet April 26, and it is extending Java x.servlet.http servlet, but instead of, okay, let me go with the default. Next, you leave everything as it is. Those are all servlet lifecycle. We'll come later. So once this is done, okay, I'll delete this. Everything is automatically created. So here, instead of extending HTTP servlet, I will be extending the Jakarta servlet. That is the jar I used. So Jakarta servlet, all these things I will. Let me delete this. It will give an auto suggestion. Let's try it out. So HTTP servlet, it is telling. I give control. See, there are auto suggestions automatically. Whether you want to use this class from this jar file, Jakarta, or this is also available in another jar, Java X. This is also available in this one. So these classes are available in these many packages. I'll use Jakarta. So I'll give Control Shift O. Automatically, the suggestions will come up. Finish. So good. Everything is done. The first servlet is ready. Now I'll go to the, let's see what it is. Then I have to create a web.xml. And as I said, this is the heart of the application, which is already created. If you open up, the web.xml has few tags in it. The web.xml has source and design view. So few tags, default tags, let's leave it as it is for now.
Rajesh, how do we get this web.xml?
When you create a project, there was a checkbox, create web.xml.
Okay.
If I click that checkbox, this file will be automatically created.
Okay.
Okay. So next step. That's all. I'll run this project and see whether everything is good without any error. No, I have to do one more thing.
And what's the use of this web.xml?
Web.xml is the entry point. I somewhere I wrote. Okay, web.xml is it's the entry point for the request. So this example, this client server, the browser, right? The computer. This is sending out a request. We are telling that it is reaching the server. That is a vague statement. We are telling it will reach the server. Server where? It will reach web.xml. That is the correct statement. If this request will reach the web.xml. So that's the starting point here, that
Okay.
web.xml will receive the request and it will forward to whatever it is, wherever it is required. So I will right click this welcome servlet, run as run on server. Next, the welcome servlet is, what is the servlet name? Welcome servlet. The project is April 26. This is added. Already 2 projects which you created are added. If you don't want, you can remove it, which means it will be removed from the server. Let me just have it as it is. The server may need restart. Do you want? Yes, because my server is already started. Okay. Now, here I wanted to show once the server is started, you have to note the port number. This is the door. So again, this statement, the request from the computer reaches the server. To reach or to enter into a server, it needs to knock a door. To enter into a house, you need an entry point. That entry is the port or the door number we tell. The door number is the port number in terms of technically it's called port number. So 8080 is the port. This is where the the software meets the hardware of your system. In the hardware, there are different ports which are allocated in your motherboard. So this Java program opens up and connects to one of the port and is ready to listen anything which is coming into this port. This is where the hardware and the software meet up. Which means if you send out any request to port 8080, it will reach the Tomcat. Tomcat is listening or ready opening up the port number and it is watching the door. If you send to 8081, Tomcat will not receive because
Okay,
Tomcat
that
is
means for Tomcat there is a particular port number. It's 8080.
correct.
Okay.
And it is not fixed. It is what we give. When you install the Tomcat, it will ask you.
Okay.
It will show 8080 by default and it will ask you if you want to change, you can change it. If you give there 8081, here 8081 will come. Once try installing the Tomcat, you will know this.
Okay.
Okay, so this is started in 8080. That's a port. Now let me go. I said the URL structure, right? The URL structure is HTTP server port. So I'll go here, HTTP. My server is, I don't have a domain name, so it is a local server. So localhost 8080, and what is the project I'm running April 26 web. So I'll take this April 26 web. The origin did not find any because we did not give anything else. It is just like this. Now, because we didn't do anything, we only created a servlet. We didn't tell the Tomcat that you have to go to the servlet when something comes in. but there is something as default.jsp, default.html. Let's try creating one file like this. In web app, let's try creating one file. These are the welcome list file. Since all these are not there, it is throwing an error. Let's see if we have something, what happens. I'll create index.jsp, which is the third in the list. Welcome. Now let's see. I'll go here. I'll give this. Okay, see here, welcome came, because as I said, when I hit this localhost 8080 April 26 web, what happens? It goes to this port number in this machine. This machine is my machine. Port number 8080, Tomcat is listening. So it goes and knocks the door of the Tomcat. The browser goes. Network. If I go to network, I refresh. You can see here. Request and response duration. It is going to the request URL http localhost April. What is the method it is calling? Get 200. So these are all high concepts, but I just want you to focus to this one, the get method, and here preview. What is the output it got? Welcome. Okay, so when I hit this 8080 and this server address, it goes to this, it goes and sees and knocks 8080. Whoever is there in 8080, you have to give me this. That is what it is meaning. I don't know who is listening 8080, but I want this URL. I want this resource, April 26 web, you give me. What up?
Rajesh, here April 26 web is a file, right?
It's a project. It's a folder.
Okay, it's a folder.
It's a folder. So it goes and knocks and tell April 26 web. I want the client is asking April 26 web. Where it goes to web.xml. I said it goes to web.xml. It sees here welcome file list. This is a normal English word to understand. These are the files, if available in the order, will be returned back when something is called, when April 26 is called. So it goes, it sees whether index.html is there. No. Index.htm, no, it's not there. Index.jsp, it is there. So it is returning. If you have index.jsp.
Okay. This one, web.xml, it is in a Tomcat server, right?
Correct.
Okay. In the Tomcat server, it's going to check whether which HTML or HTML
this
or
order
JSP is present. Okay,
in this order. Let us say I'm creating index.jsp and also default.jsp. It will return index.jsp because it's this order. So index.jsp is returned. So our first website is ready. I am, as a client, I am asking something and the server is returning me something. Now this I can share with anyone, right? Instead of localhost, I just have to buy a domain name and I have to give my IP address. That's high concept. But as a user, I'm not exposing my Java program. I'm calling through web, which means browser. If I am calling through browser, anyone can call through browser. Just the security, I have to open it up. So our first website is done. We created, we didn't write any coding so far. We didn't write any Java code. We created the servlet, which is automatically created. Some boilerplate code are there. We'll see what it is later. We didn't create anything. We only created one page and we did welcome. And the server is ready listening. Now what we'll do, when the user, okay, this is the page where the addition is going to happen. Now,
Rajesh, I have one question. Yesterday I'm doing the program. we are
Yes.
running the program. After that, if you want to edit the program, we are not stopping the program, right? Just we are going to the program, we are doing again, we are going to run, right?
Main program or this one, servlet, advanced Java?
No, just core Java.
Core Java, when you run a program, it will automatically terminate.
Oh, okay. And in this also the same thing we are doing, right?
No, this one, the program will not terminate. See, it is always listening. Until you stop it, the Tomcat will not
Okay.
stop. It is
Okay.
continuously listening the port. Who is hitting? It's continuously watching.
Okay.
So the server started and it is still listening.
That means
Until
something if you write, it's going to take, you write welcome, right? If you write something, welcome to advanced Java, it's going to take it and it's going to
yes.
get the out.
So in server, I am changing this. Now one
Okay,
customer,
save.
one
Okay.
client is asking. It will tell welcome to
Okay.
advanced Java.
That means no need to stop here and we can.
No need to stop.
Okay.
You have to stop and restart when you touch the heart, which is web.xml. The Eclipse
Okay.
will automatically take care of, but now if you are manually doing, you have to do, but otherwise if you touch the web, because web.xml is the heart of the application, it has to, every single program, the Tomcat has to know that something is changed. So you have to restart.
Okay.
Now what we'll do, we'll create one, no, we'll not create something. What we'll do, in the web.xml, we will configure the servlet. We just created the servlet, there is no use in it. We will configure. For that, this is the tag, servlet tag and servlet mapping tag.
That means, Rajesh, we are going to configure. That means
So far, Tomcat, let me just draw one diagram. You'll understand. Okay. So far, Tomcat is there. We have started the Tomcat. We have a web.xml also. We have a web.xml. We have a index.jsp page we created, correct? And web.xml knows that there is this page, correct?
yes.
Because in web.xml we gave this, it is there. So web.xml knows that there is a page like this. We created one servlet. Now does web.xml know that there is a servlet?
Could you please repeat the question?
We created one JSP and web.xml knew that there is a page.index.jsp. We created one Java program. Welcome April 26. Does the web.xml know that there is a program like this?
Web.xml, I think web.xml just know what is inside, but I'm not sure it knows that.
It is not. No, it doesn't know. You have to tell here explicitly what are the things which are available.
Yes.
So in index we gave, so it knew. Let's say I have one more file here as calculator.jsp. Okay. Calculator. Now, is the web.xml going to give us this page? No, it doesn't even know that there is a page like that. The file is there in the folder. The file is there, okay, but the owner should know that there is something, right? If you don't know what is there in your
we have
house,
to mention over there in that web.xml it is present. Otherwise, how it comes?
Yes, only then it will know that the file is there. But okay, so now the servlet, which is the Java program which we have written, the web.xml doesn't know that the Java program exists. So what we will do, we will give the tag. So this is the tag servlet, servlet name and servlet mapping, which means these are my available servlets. How many servlets I have? Only one. I've created only welcome servlet. I'll copy the name of the servlet. The servlet is inside main servlet package. So I'll go here. My servlet name is welcome servlet. Main servlet dot welcome servlet. This is the package. And what is the servlet name? Okay. Now this first section tells how many servlets we have. For all the servlets, we have to write this. And the next section says when which servlet has to be called, for which request to which servlet I have to go. That is the servlet mapping. Let's say to make it clear, I create one more servlet now. This time I will not use this servlet. I'll create normal class and I'll convert to servlet. Calculation.java. This is a normal Java program. Now I will extend HTTP servlet. This becomes a servlet now. If I extend the HTTP servlet, it becomes a servlet. I have to go to source, generate getters and setters. No, not generate getters and setters. I have to go and overwrite. Override implement methods and do get. Okay. Now I have two servlets, correct? One is the welcome servlet, other is the calculation servlet. Now web.xml knows only one servlet. It doesn't know the second servlet. So we have to copy and give the second servlet. Only then web.xml will know that I have two servlets in my application. So how many ever servlets you are creating, you have to give those many entries here. And here the mapping. When someone is going to call welcome, I have to go to welcome servlet. When someone is going to call, hey, do the addition, you have to go to the calculation servlet, not addition, calculation, calculate. So this means when someone is calling, when the client, someone means the browser, when the browser calls welcome, you go to welcome servlet and show whatever it is there. If the browser calls calculate, you go to the calculate servlet and show whatever it is there. Now the web.xml knows two servlets. Let's rerun the program and see nothing is breaking for now. Nothing is breaking. Everything is working good. Now I, as a client, which is a browser, I will try to call this welcome. After this, I will call welcome and see. What is this telling? April 26 / welcome is not found or it is not willing to disclose. The reason is
we didn't call welcome here, Rajesh.
no, the reason is one part is missing in this slide, which is we didn't do. We have to make sure the classes are inside the classes folder. We didn't do that. You see, where are the classes? It's going here, build. There is something outside and it is, but this is what is there in the Tomcat. Here web.inf classes is empty. We just have to
that
push
means this classes has to
be
replace
here.
it to this classes.
Correct. For that, we'll right click the project, go to properties, go to sources. Here, see where's the output path. It is inside April 26 web build and classes. I have to just switch it over. Name web.inf classes. Apply and close. This will tell you, do you want to remove the old location and its content? Yes. it will be deleted from there. This will come here. Same way, if I delete this, let me stop the Tomcat. Okay, stop. If I delete this class and I do control yes, the class will automatically be generated. Same as core Java. It is actually core Java only. Just it is getting more powerful now. The core Java we were not able to
Rajesh,
do.
we deleted the one, but why it came again?
Yeah, when you save it, the compiler will convert the Java file into class file. We saw in core Java also, right? This is a class file which is machine readable format.
Okay.
If I open, you cannot read the content.
Mhm.
Open with text editor. See here.
Okay.
So uh, when I save a Java program, the compiler will convert .java into .class, machine readable format. This is
Okay.
human readable format. This is machine readable format. Only this Tomcat
No,
can
I
read
got
only.
you. This one you told me before,
Yes. Mm,
before you deleted something, right?
no,
You didn't
I
delete
deleted
it.
this one only.
Okay. You deleted again. You created.
Yes.
Okay.
Now let's see this. I delete welcome servlet. Okay. And I'll save the calculation. Now welcome servlet also should be uh, okay. It is not. But if you clean it, everything will be recreated. If you clean it, everything is recreated. So now let's see. Hopefully this should solve the issue.
Rajesh, why we want to clean that one? That means delete that just the class file, not
Yeah,
the class file.
what might happen is sometimes when we write a large number of programs, few classes would not have been deleted properly, something would have been locked. So what we do is we clean the project. Once we do a clean, what happens is this will delete all the class files in the project and recompile every Java file. The Eclipse will do that automatically,
Okay.
just to make sure that the program is compiled correctly.
Okay.
Okay, now it is started. Let's try accessing the welcome. Super. It is served at, so if we go to this servlet, welcome, what happens now? It is going here. The entry point is web.xml. Before web.xml, it goes to the server. That's the first entry point because we have to recognize the house, correct? So it goes to the house, it goes to the door number, then it goes to the servlet web.xml, then it goes to the resource /welcome. The web.xml realizes that there is something a /welcome. Hey, you asked for /welcome. It is there. Where it is there? It's in this class. What is this class? It goes here. This is the class. So you go here. Here the get will be called. It is showing the served at request.context path. This sysout is getting printed here. I change here and show you served at welcome servlet. Let me print the time. So there is a date object in date class in Java util date object equal to new date. I will print the date object here. Dot append. You see here something as dot append. We saw this dot append in string buffer. Again append. We will append this. What is the problem? Append cannot. Method is not writable for date. Append can only take a string value. Let's convert. Let's see what happens. As soon as I saved, the server restarted. If you noticed, reloading the context. Now here it is 9:53. It's 9:06 p.m. IST. So there is something welcome, it went out. We also had one more servlet, calculate. Let's try calculate and see. If I call calculate, method not allowed. Method is not, get is not supported. What is the problem? If we go here, do get, we have this correctly configured. Main servlet dot calculation. Override. Let me delete this and write this out. No, let me configure the same. I'll take the same response and copy this. Welcome servlet instead of welcome server, calculation servlet. The response is RESP. REQ. Let's see. Something is there. So unresolved compilation problem. Request cannot be resolved. Okay. Now only it is reloading. Here also, see, it is working. So both the URLs are working now. I'll repeat what is happening. First step. Where is the bullets? Okay, here it is. Okay, first step. It browser we try to hit this URL localhost/calculate. If you're not following this, stop me. With this, we'll wind up for today. So the summary of what we saw in the browser, we are calling this HTTP is the protocol. It goes into the server localhost, which is the local machine. Then it goes to 8080, which is the port or the door number where the server is listening. Then it goes to April 26 web. Okay, then it goes to April 26 web, which is called, I'll introduce the new term, context, or folder is a word we use to tell in terms of human readable format. Here we call it as context. That is why you see here request.get context path means what is the folder name. We call here as context in technically. It reaches that folder, then it goes into web.xml. The control goes to web.xml. It searches for calculate. Is it finding? Yes, it's mapped and goes to calculation servlet, and calculation servlet again where it will go in the calculation servlet, get method. Why get method? Any request you send directly through the URL is a get URL. How you can, to confirm it, you can go to inspect. I showed you something in the network as here. If you click it, the header request method is get. So it is calling this URL with get method. We will see an example of how to call the post method
That means
later.
Rajesh, it's a universal call, right?
Yes,
For all.
yes.
Okay.
Anything you call here, it is a get. Let's say
Okay.
you go to youtube.com, it is a get call. It cannot be post call. But within YouTube, if you call something by button click, that can be made as a post call. The default will be a get call.
Post call means
tomorrow what we'll do is we'll place one button here. On click of that, we'll not do a get, we'll do a post call.
Okay.
Because we have to hide the data. We should not show the data. Here it is showing, right? Calculate is visible here. I should not show that it is calling calculate. So to conclude where it is coming, it is mapped and it goes to the servlet method. It goes into get method. And this is out, not this out. The print writer returns back some string as response. The response is printed in the server browser. This is all we saw for the past 2 days. Any questions on this?
Rajesh, here April 26th web is the one which we created, right?
Correct.
Or which we created in the Tomcat.
Yes, you created as a dynamic web project.
Okay.
Any questions?
I'm good, Rajesh.
Okay. So we'll stop here for today.
Rajesh, I have one question.
Yes.
Currently, we are using Visual Studio Code. Could you please tell me few lines about that one? Because,
Visual Studio is similar to Eclipse. It is for .NET projects. We can use, but Visual Studio is a very heavy IDE.
just the Visual Studio Code, Rajesh, not the
Visual Studio Code. Okay. Visual Studio Code is similar to what I gave, Sublime. Visual Studio Code is similar to Sublime. See, there are many ways of writing a code. Okay, it is not mandatory that you should have Eclipse. The IDEs for writing a code, the basic IDE which I have used to write a code is Notepad, which comes inbuilt with all the machines, with all the windows, just plain Notepad, which will not have anything, correct? You have used Notepad. So you can use Notepad to write Java program, and using Notepad to write a Java program is the best way to learn it, because there is no autocomplete, there is no control space, there is no auto import, nothing is automatic. You have to write every single letter. So you learn a lot using Notepad. Then what happened? People got a bit lazy, or we can tell in another way that they want to utilize their time in a more precious way. So they started building Edit Plus, which came up later. Edit Plus, that will be a red color icon. Edit Plus. This is more than Notepad, with some features like highlighting the text. It will show error, like that. It will be. This comes as both a free version and also paid version. This is one tool you can use. After this came the Notepad++. This also is a very good tool. Instead of this is a paid, Notepad++ is a free version. This is good. You can try out. So after this came Notepad++. Then many of the giants, they came up with, this is a community. Eclipse came up. Same way we have JetBrains, we have NetBeans, and we have Sublime. Sublime mostly came for Angular. It has Java also, but it uses. Next to Sublime, we have the Visual Studio Code from Microsoft. It is a lighter version of Visual Studio. Visual Studio Code.
What's the main use? Just to write the code, to see the code, that's it?
Yeah, Visual Studio Code is actually powerful. Visual Studio Code, you can write, you can start the server, you can it detects. It is like Eclipse.
Oh, that means you can run the code also in Visual Studio.
You can run the code. Yes. Visual Studio, you can run the code. So
Okay.
just an ID like Eclipse. That's all.
Okay.
Visual Studio Code is actually I will prefer it is good, but I use only Sublime because I don't want complete automation. I am a person who wants to read a few of things. I don't want everything to be spoon fed. So I want something to be said, but not everything. Few things I have to understand on my own. Only then it will stick on lifelong. So I used Visual Studio Code for like couple of projects to make the things development faster, but I prefer Sublime. I prefer Sublime, and I always use Edit Plus. Edit Plus, and still I use Edit Plus a lot.
Okay.
It
That
will
means
not have auto
Microsoft,
completion.
the code which belongs to Microsoft, we can
Yes,
use
yes.
Visual
Visual
Studio
Studio.
Code.
Yeah, yeah. You can definitely use
What
Visual
we
Studio Code.
can use Java also.
Yes, yes. You
We
can.
can run Java and Visual Studio
You have to
code.
install plugin. You have to install plugin. Visual Studio
Oh,
Code is a basic. Same way Sublime. Nothing comes inbuilt with Java other than Eclipse. Eclipse comes NetBrain and NetBeans. These are built for Java, but other things doesn't come with Java. You cannot install any plugins here. These are just notepads. Here it comes with Java. Here you can install plugins for whatever language, Python, Angular, Java, .NET. I'm not sure. I've not installed .NET because .NET has its own Visual Studio. That's a more powerful tool. But you have to install. By default, it will not come with
okay.
Java. Okay.
Because the thing, in my project, the developers just they will use Visual Studio and they will take the code and they will run that code in PowerShell in Azure.
Yes. Yes.
Because just
Yes.
their copy. I'm confused why they are using this Visual Studio Code and they're copying and they are pasting here. Just they
Yes.
can run in Visual Studio Code. I'm confused.
Maybe they run it in Azure.
Yeah, in Azure
Maybe,
PowerShell.
yeah, maybe they want to run in the server side because few programs are written in such a way that you have to run and test it out only in the server, not in local machine.
Okay, just for saving purpose, they are writing in Visual Studio
Correct,
Code.
correct, correct. And then they copy and run it there.
Oh, and they will arrange in the code in the particular way. Okay, now I got
Yes, yes,
it. Thank you, Rajesh.
yes. No problem. Always good. So it is I think it's from Windows only, right? Debugging, Linux, stable release, initial release. It is using Java. You can use Java. Okay. So if no other doubts, and we can pause here for today. We will continue it tomorrow here. Okay.
All right, thank you, Rajesh.
Yeah. Have a great week ahead. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Thank you.